Hi, welcome back to Whimsy Crafter. I hope you all are doing great. In today's video, I thought I'll talk to you about the care of jade plants during the winter season. And by jade, I not only mean my Crassula ovata plant, but also the dwarf or mini jade or Portulacaria afra plants. So before I begin with my discussion, let me just give you a sneak peek of the jade plants that I have as of now. So the first one is my Crassula ovata plant. This plant is almost 2 years old. I have made a few videos on this one last year. You can check it out in my Jade playlist, which I'll link up here. So this is my only Crassula ovata plant. And apart from that, I have a few more dwarf jade plants. This is the one in the smallest container that I have. This one was grown from cutting and this is growing fine. You can see this one, see how small the container is. Doesn't it look cute? And this is the oldest dwarf jade plant that I have. It has almost become like a bonsai. The leaves have become quite dried because I haven't watered these in about 2 weeks. I have been a bit lazy and I was, taking a break. It was the Durga Puja season, so I just took a break from everything, including my teaching profession and from gardening. Everybody needs a break, doesn't it? Okay, so this is the oldest jade that I had, the Portulacaria afra. These are a few plants that are also grown from cutting from the previous plant that I showed you. These are also around a year old. And finally, this particular plant over here is also a Portulacaria afra plant, which was badly infested with mealybugs. So I made a video with other 2 succulents, including this particular jade plant, where I showed you how you can get rid of mealybugs very easily at home. So I will link it up here so that you can check it out. So as you have seen, most of my jade plants are dehydrated. It's time to water them again. And while I was getting ready to water them, I thought I'll shoot this video with you because I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that every day I get around minimum 2 queries on my social media handles asking me for advice on how to take care of jade plants. Okay, it's usually from people who get jade plants as lucky gifts or from people who have bought jade plants and they have no clue as to how they should care for the particular plant, and they try and take care of the plant like an ordinary plant and it dies. Let me begin by saying that jade plants are succulents. Okay, succulents are xerophytic plants in nature, meaning to say in layman's terms, succulents are plants which store water in their body because they belong to such areas where natural water is very scarce. So they have adapted themselves to store water in their bodies so that in times when the water is not really available, they can utilize the water which is already stored in their structures. So that is it. So obviously for such plants, if we use a lot of water, it leads to their rot and their eventual death. So through different seasons, the care routine for jades vary a bit, and winter is one such time where a lot of people tend to get confused regarding the kind of care that jade plants should be given, because in winter the weather conditions are different. Everything, the weather around us becomes dry. Even for a place like Kolkata, India, which remains humid for most of the times, winter suddenly changes everything. Okay, I mean the weather really becomes quite dry, and the succulent plants also react accordingly, and it becomes a bit confusing for beginners especially to actually find out a fine balance using which they can take care of the jade plant. So in this video, I will try to simplify the know-how of the care of these jade plants during winter. So please stay tuned to this video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you found this useful, and don't forget to subscribe to Whimsy Crafter for more such videos. So let's get started with the first tip. So the first tip that I would like to talk about is obviously watering. From personal experience of growing jades for around say 3 years, I can tell you this much. that jades require very minimum water. Succulents in general love to enjoy a period of drought before they are watered next, because in their natural habitats, that is how they grow. They do not receive a constant supply of water through different sources that are naturally available. So obviously, if we try and mimic the same kind of conditions in our growing space, we will be able to sustain our plants for longer. So a very popular method of watering succulents is the soak and dry method, in which you take a container half filled with water, be it a bucket or a big tub. You half fill it with water and you slowly place the containers containing your succulents in them and let it remain like that for say 10 to 20 minutes. After 10 to 20 minutes, you remove the succulent pots from the tub of water, place it separately so that the excess water can drain from the containers, and then you replace the containers back to where they usually are kept. That's all. And you water next when the soil feels dry to touch. In winters, since the rate of evaporation is lower owing to low temperatures, this procedure is usually sufficient when done every 2 weeks. So going by that, in a month you would need to water maximum twice. Okay. Now this is a subjective idea. It will depend upon the existing temperature of your region. If you are somebody who is watching me from northern India, obviously the temperatures over there at this point of the year is far lower than that what I am experiencing here in Kolkata. So obviously there the watering frequency will have to be reduced further, obviously, because the water that you will provide to your plant will take a lot of time to dry out. So this is what you need to understand. Look at the plant, observe the plant. That is how it starts. If you observe your plant, you will very soon be able to tell the requirements of the plant and take care of it accordingly. So watering will depend upon how fast your soil is drying, not only in winter but also throughout the year. Like in rainy season, I water my plant once a month, or sometimes I don't even water them, because whenever it rains, there's a lot of atmospheric humidity that is there around us. So the plants soothe themselves. I don't need to put any extra water. Sometimes when it drizzles and it is accompanied by steady winds, the plants get the required quantity of moisture in the soil automatically. So I don't need to water them. So this is how nature works, and you can try and understand the requirements of a plant to keep it thriving. Jade plants are no different, and I can assure you that they thrive on neglect rather than excess care, and that is one of the top reasons why we successfully kill our jade plants. So keep the watering in check, keep the watering on hold only until the next time you try and hold the container in your hand and it feels light, and when you touch the soil of the container, it doesn't stick to your finger. If it sticks to your finger, then you probably should wait for another 3 to 4 days before watering. But if it doesn't stick to your finger, the soil I mean, it's time to water. Obey this simple rule and you will find no problems in watering your jade plants. The next and the most important factor for caring for jade plants during winter would be sunlight. From practical experience, I have noticed one thing, that is, if jade plants are provided sufficient amount of light, then they do not require any other forms of extra food in the form of different types of fertilizers in order to grow. Sunlight is their food. We have read in elementary biology that the food of a particular plant is prepared through the process of photosynthesis, and photosynthesis takes place normally under the presence of sunlight. So obviously when we are dealing with succulents, we have to keep in mind the light requirement. I often tell my viewers who ask me questions regarding where they should keep their jade plant, I tell them that they should keep the jade plants at a place which receives early morning sunlight till about say 10 a.m. But you know, this means different things to different people, because at a given direction, the sun intensity might differ from another direction where the plant is placed. At 10 a.m., the kind of exposure that a jade plant receives on the southern side will be different from the exposure it receives at the same time from the eastern side. So there has to be a proper, measure of light that you should know in order to keep your plants healthy. To help you with this process, I did some research on the internet, and I came across a very, very helpful tool that will make your life easy. So that tool is called a lux meter. Usually these lux meters are available in shops which sell electrical gadgets, or gadgets like those which are used for measuring different aspects of things pertaining to physics, like you say the shops which keep vernier calipers or beam balances or weighing scales or measuring scales and screw gauges, and all these places usually keep a lux meter, but you don't need to invest a fortune. There is an app, not one app, but there are multiple apps on Google Play Store where you can find, which you can use actually to measure the light intensity. One app that I use, and this is not a sponsored video, the creators of the app probably don't know that I am recommending this app to you. That app is called the Lux Meter. When you type in Lux Meter, Lux Lux Meter on the search panel in Google Play Store, you will come across an app that allows you to measure the intensity of light around you. So as soon as you download and install that app, you will see some numbers randomly popping up onto your screen when you move your mobile. Those numbers are nothing but the light intensity that your mobile screen is receiving from the surroundings around you. So using this app, you can easily measure the light intensity that is being provided to your plants where you're keeping them. Usually jade plants require a light intensity between 10,000 to 20,000 lux. That is enough for them. You can go higher up till 35,000 lux, okay? So that is more than sufficient to keep the jade plants thriving. So you can use this tool, this trick, in order to measure the kind of light that you are providing. The light range that I told you is sufficient to keep your jade plants thriving. And believe me, I have not fertilized my jade plants in the past 1.5 years. When initially I got them, I had got succulent fertilizers for them which used to be dissolved in water and then they used to be dipped in it, but I did that just once. I did not follow it through and it has made not much difference to my jade plants. Without fertilizers, they are doing fine, they are growing prolifically, and I am not having to do anything apart from watering them properly and providing them proper light. So I will tell you the same thing, no need of buying fancy fertilizers. You give the basics to a plant and they will take care of themselves, and this applies to all the plants including jades. I hope you found the tips I shared in this video useful, and seriously there is nothing more to it, just light and water. That's all, your plants will be fine. You just need to be consistent with your routine of watering based on the requirements of the plant. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to Whimsy Crafter for more such videos. For any comments and queries, the comment section is always open for you. Take care and go Whimsy.